Great stuff, mate. Awesome.
Welcome backstage and welcome to one of the biggest matches of Alex de Minaur's life. Novak Djokovic has been here countless times at the back of the Rod Laver Arena getting himself ready. Craig Tiley is doing another wonderful job of steering this magnificent event. Attendances have been absolutely fantastic. Close to 70,000 yesterday, almost 100,000 on Saturday. And one of the game's biggest stars about to take the walk down a corridor that he has done on 9 previous occasions and come off with 9 wins at this particular event as well. He's a man on a mission. He's looking for a perfect 10 here in Melbourne. He's played an Australian a couple of times before, the same man, Leighton Hewitt, and has had a win here at the Australian as well on both of those occasions, Novak. But Alex de Minaur has been in some wonderful form already this summer here in Australia. A win over Nadal is testament to that. And he has the form over the last 12 months as well, does the Australian, to give Novak a fabulous test. There's his name. There's his badge of honor. And here comes the 9-time champion.
It's men's singles 4th round action here on Rod Laver Arena. Please welcome the number 4 seed, Novak Djokovic. And their opponent from Australia, Alex de Minaur.
It's been a quick turnaround, obviously, after the epic contest between Rublev and Rune that finished on a net cord winner for Rublev. And as you can see, everybody's still hustling to get into their chairs, get ready for the match. One man that's never hustling is Wally Masur. Welcome, Wally. How are you?
I'm pretty well, Petch. Great to be here. Obviously, looking forward to this. Got the Australian flavour to the match, and I do like to see homegrown players doing well at a homegrown slam, but he's running into the brick wall of Novak Djokovic. Might be a problem.
What's been your take on Djokovic's form so far as we see results from the day? Ben Shelton, what a story that has been. What a story that has been for the American. Absolutely magnificent, eclipsing most of the other stories which have been fabulous over the opening 8 days. But just circling back to that, what's been your take on his form so far and his fitness?
Well, I've just got to assume he's okay. So he had a little tweak of the hammy against Medvedev in Adelaide, sought some treatment, and since then we've seen him playing with the tape. But he has not lost a match since that moment. So results count. He's winning. He beat Dimitrov in the last round. Dimitrov is a player, and he took care of him in straight sets.
Say hi. Good. Hello. How are you? Good. Alex. Okay, gentlemen, few important reminders. We're using the net sensor, and we have the serve clock around the corners, plus the scoreboard. So keep an eye on it. And Hawkeye Live, like you know, keep on playing until you hear an out call. And what is more, the towel boxes. So you have the red towels, the red for the red sticker, and the blue, okay? Any questions? So Noah, who do you want to ask?
Djokovic.
Joko, okay. Australian Open or Cain Rosewall?
Cain Rosewall.
Okay, Cain Rosewall. Cain is, okay. Or then a picture together. Australian Open?
I'll receive.
Receive? Okay, turn around. You stay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So nice photo.
You obviously know Alex well as well, Wally. What's your take in terms of his temperament, his game style for a night like this?
Great competitor. I've known Alex since he was 12. He worked at the National Academy in Sydney, where I was. He was not a kid that wanted to grind from the back of the court and do drills. He wanted to compete, and we would have to bring in older kids for him to compete. He loved playing above his age and weight, which is sort of what he's had to do his whole career. He's a fighter. He used to win on legs and heart, but he's added a few kilos, and that's given him a little bit more pop on the serve, the opportunity to get some more free points. And also, Mark, he's probably using his speed a little more proactively as opposed to defensively, and that gives him the opportunity to win his share of points. And I think striking the balance tonight as we have a look at Novak's bio is going to be the real key for Alex.
Well, that's where he sits at the moment, ATP ranked number 5 in the world, but of course he's only lost a couple of times since Wimbledon last year, and one of those came at Laver Cup as well, and against the man that just lost, Holger Rune, in the final of Paris. He has been undisputedly the best player on the planet since Wimbledon of last year, and that is what is in front of Alex de Minaur tonight. And of course he's looking for his 13th quarterfinal here at the Australian Open alone, and he's looking for his 54th quarterfinal appearance of all time. It is quite an extraordinary career that we have watched unfold over the last decade plus for Novak. Second in the list, of course, for most quarterfinal appearances behind Roger Federer. As we take a little look at Alex de Minaur's profile, currently ranked 24 in the world. His live ranking is also 24. It was a little bit of a bumpy 2021 for him, wasn't it? With COVID, he lost a little bit of form. He's bounced back very nicely in 2022.
Yeah, look, I spoke to him, and maybe he had long COVID. I don't know exactly the definition of that, but he struggled for a while. He said after 45 minutes he was just blowing up. He had no energy for a period of time, but he's found a way back through that. Look, I think these guys haven't played. I think that's actually quite good, because you imagine a young de Minaur emerging onto the tour and getting beat by Novak a couple of times. You know, that can provide you with a little bit of trauma. So I think that's good. They've got a clean slate. And I think the other thing in Demon's favour, you can see that's the first time they have played. He's played a lot of Davis Cup matches for Australia, and whilst they mightn't be in front of 15,000 people, there's a lot of pressure when you represent your country, and he's had Leighton on the court with him to work through those big moments. So I think those Davis Cup type matches will hold him in pretty good stead for tonight. And finally, Pedge, he's pretty electric player. You know, like the crowd, he draws the crowd in because he's a fighter. He puts it all on the line. He's quick. He's capable of doing the brilliant. He draws the crowd in, and he's very good at feeding off the crowd. And he'll need a bit of that tonight too, I think. Use the crowd.
Career high of 15 in June of 2021 for Alex. Of course, made the 4th round here last year, lost to Yannick Sinner in that particular match, as he gets the warm embrace of an expectant Australian crowd.
1 minute.
Won't be the first time that Novak's been in a stadium where he's had a fair bit of the crowd against him. There's the legendary Tony Roach at the back there, Katie Bolter just to Tony's right, Alex's girlfriend. Peter Lutzak, also his coach, along with Adolfo as well, as Novak takes
30 seconds.
The acclaim of the crowd as he came out. He was a man that was trying to block out all the noise. It's not easy to do. They love to say, I'm going to live in my bubble, but I'm not sure it ever really happens.
You'd have to go to the moon, wouldn't you? So, Petch, you've coached at the highest level. What do you tell the Demon?
I would definitely go down and take a page out of Gilles Simon's playbook from here, when he played him a number of years ago, and he basically put the ball through the middle of the court, certainly at the start of the match, and I would try and make sure that the rallies were as long as possible. If he can tick the first set over, whether he wins it or he loses it, to about an hour, if there is an issue with, and I say a big if there is an issue with his leg, then possibly you can get into that territory where you can find out a little bit more, as we see the temperature, which is a lot warmer tonight than it has been in the previous few days, to be honest. It's been hovering around 21, 20 degrees. We're 7 degrees up there, so that may be significant if this match goes long. So extend it as long as you can would be my number one thing, and go through the middle of the court. Don't give him too many angles to work with.
And Demon's got a cheeky little backhand slice too. It's effective, and you know, just throw that in from time to time. No pace. Keep it low. Novak plays that fairly carefully. So I think what we're both suggesting is he's pretty dangerous from the wings, Novak.
First set.
Correct.
The harder you go at him, the harder he comes back.
Djokovic to serve. Ready? Play.
start from both players.
You are never safe. He doesn't need the right ball to pull trigger. And that sound, particularly off that backhand wing. You are never safe. He doesn't need the right ball to pull trigger.
And that is the one area where there is a significant upside for Novak tonight, isn't there?
I reckon he's got such an underrated serve. You look at it and you think, yeah, okay, it's solid, but he serves so well when he's in trouble, and he gets a lot of free points off it, but you don't think of him as a big server, but it's so effective. And there's not a lot in the motion to suggest it's going to come out at 196. Unusual takeaway, lags the racket arm, but it catches up quickly. Nice and tall through impact. Has a good knack at putting the ball toss in exactly the same spot every time.
Fault.
And the other thing that Minaur is going to have to manage, which he did effectively there, is the blend on second serves, in particular from Novak as well. He'll be dropping it in pretty slow. He'll be popping a few big ones in there around the 190s as well.
Cain Djokovic.
That is a very strong start on serve for Novak. 31st ace of the tournament for Novak. And he has only ever lost one match to a player playing at home at a Grand Slam as well. Of course, there's only 4 nations that happens to as we take a look at the win predictor, understandably overwhelmingly in favour of Novak. And that was to Andy Murray. He's won 26 out of 27 when he's played Americans at the US Open, or Brits at Wimbledon, or Aussies here. Of course, he's only played Leighton here a couple of times. Or French players at the French, so he quite likes a hostile environment. Alex has got to use the crowd. Lives, of course, in Sydney and in Spain, looking to try and make memories here in Melbourne.
Out.
15 love.
And that, in some respects, is what you were alluding to, Wally, the fact that they haven't played before. Novak won't have had a great sort of feel to where to stand early on here for second serves that de Minaur puts in.
Yep, and Demon, I can't believe he serves. When I knew him as a 15-year-old, I just didn't think he was going to have this kind of pop on his serve. But he's done a lot of work physically. As a teenager, we all like to do what we're good at. And Demon was good at playing. That's what he wanted to do. He wasn't that interested in the off-court stuff and athletic development. But, of course, as an emerging pro, he realised it had to be a priority. And he's done well to beef up physically. At about 20, 30K to the serve.
Yeah, it's surprising when you look at his fastest serve of the tournament. It's bigger than Novak's. You wouldn't have probably had that, but I mean, 212 is his quickest. Novak's is 205. He's talked openly about it as well, hasn't he? He says, I don't particularly like running, so I don't actually like it when I have to do it for training. I like the feeling when I've done it. He said, I know I'm particularly good at it and it's part of my game, but it's not something that I actually relish.
No, he used to look at us like we had rocks in our head when we said, mate, off to the gym, away you go. He didn't think that was a great idea.
Forward.
The funny thing is, he's a good runner. He's quick. You can see that on court. He probably just doesn't enjoy some of the endurance stuff.
And there's that quicker serve, as I said.
15 long.
When he goes quicker, is it the slider that's most likely to be, or he's got the ability to vary it?
More than like, I mean, certainly on the ad side, it's only down the tee when he goes quick. Deuce side occasionally will try and pop one down, but that's rare. But 9 times out of 10 be out wide on the deuce.
Subtle from Demon there, just flipping it up a little bit higher, buying him some time. And what Demon has the ability to do, because he is so quick and he's very good at holding his ground, he can make the court seem a little bit smaller. His speed is intimidating. A lot of players are quick to the ball, but Demon's quick back from the ball to explode to the next shot. He gets organised fast. It doesn't matter how fast you are when you're dealing with that sort of accuracy.
30, 15.
The Djokovic backhand is just, it's one of the great shots of all time in tennis. There it is again, and cross-court line, it's not a problem.
40, 15.
It's going to be interesting to see the flatter hit, whether it's going to suit Novak, which would be the conventional sort of thought process that Alex's flatter ball maybe just be a nice rhythm for him, or whether it comes through low enough that it can cause him a few problems. Again, some great accuracy on serve from Novak. Wraps up his second service game, and everyone doing a great job here. Players and the tournament as well. 15,000 people packed into the Rod Laver Arena.
Djokovic is 2 games to 1.
Just wonder whether, from Demon's point of view, at the start of this match, whether going back, I know his natural sort of habitat on the return is right up on the baseline, but as you've just said, the spot serving from Novak is so good. You get so little time to pick it up. Whether he likes to go, I mean, obviously players like to play a certain way. Would he like to go back and play from there?
Well, I think he can. And look, I called Lehechka v Aliassime, and Aliassime served over 200 all day long, and Lehechka did a great job up, back. He changed his position all the time. He did it really well, and he upset the rhythm ultimately of Aliassime. So I think there is a time and a place for that. I'm sure Demon will return pretty aggressively for a period, but if something's not working, you've got to have second thoughts and change the visual.
What a tournament this has proven to be.
Especially behind the
really
players.
has.
Thank you.
been non-stop entertainment from start to finish every single day. It's grabbed the public's attention, it's grabbed the world's attention.
I'm loving the carnage. New faces playing some incredible tennis. It's been great.
Left second service. Love 15.
Interesting serve from Demon. He gets pretty front on, and he gets his body weight going forward pretty early in the serve. There's not a lot of legs in it. Fast arm, good timing, but he does have to strive a little bit for his power.
Out.
Yeah, it's not a gnarly serve, is it? It doesn't have an awful lot of movement. It's, you know, when he hits the spot, it's quite nice. But here you go, talk me through it.
Well, that right leg, you can see it come around, and it comes almost side by side to the front foot. So he's very front on. There's not the big rotation of the shoulders. And we haven't touched on it, but Demon can play a very efficient net game. And he volleys well because he's so quick, so he gets in a great position, doesn't do too much with the racket. He spent a few hours on the court with Tony Roach. That'll help your volleys too. You talked about the heat too. There he is, Tony Roach, one of the great volleys of all time. It's pretty lively out here, isn't it, for an evening match? A lot of balls going along. That one clips the tape. Novak applying a little pressure.
30 all.
It'll be interesting to see where he takes this at 30 all. Probably his favourite serve, I would say, fast down the tee, but trying to get Novak off the court with the serve out wide and create some space for his shot after his serve. Maybe the better play for Alex here. Scoring. And Nihan is physio on the right of your picture there. Mum and Dad over Goran's right shoulder. His brother Marco on the left. And Claudio Zamaglia, who he's just started working with as well. Of course, just split with his former physio Uli Barrio at the start of the season. There was a few changes in teams.
Use.
Great depth again from Djokovic. Is he about to rock de Minaur's world? Alex keeps him at bay for the time being.
Advantage, de Minaur.
Novak wins the first real arm wrestle of the night.
Is that the rally you had in mind, Petch, when you said just go down that central corridor? But they were just bludgeoning the ball.
Use.
Well, we're in front of Australian royalty tonight with the likes of Tony Roach, Leighton Hewitt, Wally Musa, and John Fitzgerald, I believe you here. What a rally, Fitzy.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better. It's a pretty good seat I've got here, Petch. The annoying thing of the night so far is that I haven't disagreed with one word you two have said.
It will come.
I'll find something.
Men's matches here last at least 4 hours. You'll have plenty of time.
Vote.
What a game this is. And a big one as well for Alex to get through.
So Alex is matching him for pace off the ground at the moment. But you'll notice Demon throws a lot more into it to get that pace. And as a consequence, you get a little bit of head movement. We saw one miss hit forehand in that rally. And that's what he has to be careful about, that he doesn't come out of his shoes and overplay.
Well, I've been saying the last few years that this is the rectangle of possibilities of tennis court, but it seems as though here at the Australian Open it is the rectangle of infinite possibilities. Every single contest is producing something a little bit special, and already we're getting the inkling here that this could be a big night.
You see that forehand from Demon? He's airborne. He's like a whirling dervish off that forehand wing.
Yes, he is, and he has worked a lot harder than Novak to get to this stage as well, and that is going to be, as you say, Wally, something that we're going to keep an eye on. Can he keep the pace? Look at the sprints that he has done compared to Novak Djokovic so far. Almost 3 times as many to get through to this stage. A lot of physical output. One of my favourite shots that Novak has. I know everyone talks about the open stance, slide, backhand passes that he makes, but that 3/4 forehand is absolutely deadly.
There's a part of me, I don't actually know this, maybe I should, but Novak's racket to me seems, it's almost like it's heavier than the majority of players, because his swings aren't as violent as some, but he gets such value. It's almost like the racket head is a little heavier.
You would be correct.
And it wouldn't be a little bit to do with timing by any chance, would it?
Yeah, combination of the two. So do you know what he plays at, Pitch?
It's around 345, I think, with a pretty heavy swing weight.
Right.
So, I mean, again, you get rackets that can be 300 grams, but it depends where you put the weight. So the swing weight's obviously the most important. It is a heavy swing weight racket. It's a little wider as well, actually. Agassi was a big component of him changing his racket to a slightly wider racket face as well. Andre got about 30 rackets, sent them over to Riccardo Piatti's place in Italy, which is next to Monte Carlo where Novak is, and Novak said, look, that's a few too many rackets. Can you just pick 3 that you think will work for me?
The slice there actually changed the shape of the rally, so Novak's not going to miss it, but he tends to play it a little safer.
30,
and
15.
once he played a little safer, there's still a bit of life in the court, and that was the forehand that started to do some damage. He could control the court with the forehand, so I don't mind that little bit of variety from Alex from time to time, if he can get the slice to bite.
So important to stay with Djokovic early on.
30-all.
And it's not just the fans, but the sun that's peering in to look at this encounter.
(40-30).
Great contest. 5 games gone, 22 minutes, and we're all utterly absorbed in it already. Djokovic 3-2.
3 games to 2.
How long does it take you, Wally, to get a sense of an opponent's game?
Yeah, look, I think once you've gone through, a couple of their service games and a couple of their returning games, and look, I think too, Petch, in the hit-up, you start to see things. A guy will come in and hit some volleys, and you're like, whoa, that looks a bit ordinary, because you see the grip, and you're like, that ain't going to fly. So I think you can make a pretty quick assessment, but, once you start to get to, the pointy end of a set or the big moments come, you can be surprised. I mean, Stefan Edberg's forehand was a case in point. You'd think, this looks shocking, and then you'd go there and get burnt time and time again, and you think, well, maybe I'm
looks can be deceiving.
Not quite as clever as I think I am.
So true. What a great champion he was.
At time. Take your seats quickly, please. Thank you.
Take a little drift outside here, and as you can see, still so many fans watching on the big screens and soaking up the sun, soaking up the entertainment that Tennis Australia put up. Of course, we're the fortunate ones that are getting to be live here at this contest. Alex, who burst onto the scene, of course, 2017, he finished the year ranked 208. 2018, he'd already propelled himself to 31 in the world at the end of that year in 12 months. Next year, finished inside the world's top 20, and he has not been outside the world's top 50 since as well.
Any seat for now.
COVID, of course, forced him to pull out late out of the Australian Olympic team. Couldn't get himself over there to Tokyo. Cool start, but just to give you a sense of what happened to him in 2021 when after his first match at Wimbledon until the end of Davis Cup, he won just 5 of his 17 matches, Alex, in 2021. And for context, he had won 20 out of the 32 matches prior to that, including a couple of titles in Eastbourne and Italia. COVID completely derailed his season.
Net for service.
He's having to work hard out here, isn't he?
Fitzy, what are you seeing there at court level? It looks pretty physical.
Love 30.
I'm seeing Alex work a bit harder than Novak. That's what I'm seeing. Although in the 2 games ago, Novak was breathing pretty hard for a while, but I think maybe that was just at the start of the match. Look, gee, he's so smooth, you know, and I know how good Alex is at this style of game. But I just worry that Novak's, you know, in every point he's just slightly better. It's tough to win points against him from the back like this.
So all of a sudden, trouble, love 40. And one of the things the European players do so well is they use the ground. They get ground force because they spend so much time on clay that they build power out of the ground. Australian players are a little different. You know, we play on fast surfaces and we tend to redirect pace and we don't use the ground. So, you know, not kind of using those big muscles. It's more a case of throwing yourself energetically into the ball.
Alex kind of learned that, spent 5 years in Sydney, and then of course moved to Alicante, came back when he was 13, but has that base over in Spain. But at the moment,
see that point, there's no great load, and you can see he's airborne as he makes contact.
It's only pain for the man in Spain.
And Pecho would never, you know, I don't want to give
4 games to 2
tactics away against Alex, but, you know, when he was younger, guys would try to hit him off the court. He loved it. If you give him nothing, he doesn't always enjoy that. Yes, he can burn you, but he would actually prefer a level of pace coming at him. He is essentially a counterpuncher.
Fault.
Wally, I'm not sure if anyone I've seen, sorry to interrupt you there, but maintains his level like Novak. He just never drops off, it seems. And even the other really good players in the world, they play well for a sustained period of time. Most of them have dips. He has less dips than anyone that I've seen, I think. So there's always pressure, isn't there, to maintain your level, or he'll just go on a run.
Oh, come on. That's a little bit scary.
30 love.
But Fitzy, is that because his 80% is so good? Like he's within himself?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever drops to 80, does he? Maybe he does, but you're right. Even his lowest level is incredibly good. And Alex just had that little dip, played a couple of points that weren't quite up to scratch, and all of a sudden there's a hole.
This has been brilliant, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Djokovic masterclass loading here at the moment.
And Petch, from down here, it looks like he's in second gear.
Left for service.
Is that second gear of a McLaren or a Prius?
It's a V12 I'm talking about.
This is astonishingly good from Djokovic right now. Nothing that Minaur can do, it would seem. 5-2.
Djokovic leads 5 games to 2.
pretty impressive. And you get the feeling when he launched on that forehand from maybe 6 or 8 feet behind the baseline, he's feeling pretty good. Like, he knuckled down, he won the early arm wrestle, and the confidence is building. And then we saw the little serve volley at 40 love. So when the scoreboard's in your favour, look out.
And also just the fact that he served and volleyed, the computer's working, the algorithm's working. It's like, well, I'm 40 love, good recognition. These are the errors that came from Alex. And as you've been saying, Wally, you know, he has to stick the speedometer into the red zone consistently to hit the ball as hard as Novak and try and match him. And of course, with that is going to come errors. It's unquestionable.
And you can't criticise the errors, and, and they're not by much. But, yeah, he's forced to elevate his play. That was the slower ball off the slice that he missed. And, you know, I'm not suggesting that that's going to get you to win, but it has been a feature of his play. He does not always enjoy the slower ball.
At time.
Well, he may have made a few unforced errors, but he's made more winners right now, and Novak is fully in control, as he has been really at the Australian since he lost to Hyun Chung back in 2018 in the round of 16. Of course, was making his way back after elbow surgery, but he has won 24 consecutive matches here at the Australian Open. Agassi won 26. Well, he'll be undaunted about the physical challenge in front of him, Alex, and that was a good reaction after what has just happened in the last 3 games. He's got to let Novak, he's still here. Oh.
So just as an example, 200-kilometre serve. 15 all. It was a good one. It comes back with interest on it, and the very next ball, the point that Novak hits, the point's over. It's an incredible ability to soak up that power, get it back into an unusual position, and then hit a winner straight away. Amazing.
That was a rare occasion when Novak was a little off balance. But the thing that I'm always amazed with Novak when he returns is you could pretty much put a bowl of fruit on his head and it wouldn't fall off. Like, he's so, his eye level he just maintains such a square eye level.
Honestly, he is manipulating the ball around the court with such ease.
So we've just moved from we've just changed balls, so we've got the new balls. They're a little lively out of the can, but doesn't phase Novak's timing, and he gets a little bit more value through the air. Becomes more dangerous.
I haven't really seen too many signs of the problem with that hamstring so far. And his defense is as good as his attack, and it is an irresistible combination at the moment. I do think it'll be interesting to see whether we see open stance slide backhands from Novak with the hamstring issue he has. We looked there, that's normally be the case that he does it, but he went with the crossover step. He's definitely protecting it.
Yeah, back was almost facing the net, wasn't it? Just
Djokovic.
At the moment, it's a heavyweight against a middleweight, and it is Novak who is just loading up and throwing knockout punches. 6-2. I mean, this is a difficult situation right now for Alex de Minaur. He's got to try and stay out here as long as possible for some worse tennis to come, to be honest. He's just got to hang in here. He's got to try and push this second set to 45 minutes. He's got to try to do something. I don't know whether going back, because going toe-to-toe at the moment is not working out for him.
No, and I'm just having a look there. So I was kind of concerned about this at the start of the match. So, you know, you try to serve big 200 for Demon, and he's only getting 54% of first serves in, and he's 4 from 11 on second serve. So, I don't know, you've got to kind of strike that blend. But Novak's numbers are just so clean. His winner to error rate ratio is really healthy. He's defended, as you suggested, unbelievably well. That's as good a first set as I've seen from him.
I think you made a really good point earlier. You said that maybe the pace of de Minaur on this court might stay low, and if it did, the question was asked whether it would give Novak any problems. But right now, from courtside, it just looks like the pace is exactly what he wants. As good as de Minaur is at counter-punching, Novak's better. And this pace, he's just loving it. And coming onto his racket, and then it enables him to just guide the ball back with the accuracy that he's famous for.
Yeah, there's always the known knowns when you come into this, isn't there, Fitzy? And then the known unknowns. And obviously one of the big differences tonight is how much warmer it is. It's a good 6-7 degrees warmer, and actually it looks as though, because the balls are a bit livelier, the rubber's a bit livelier, the court's got a bit of heat in it still, the ball's getting up a bit higher, and it's just allowing Novak to dictate at will.
It's interesting, for Alex to play a more defensive game, to suggest that he can go back is problematic too, because he's quite a linear hitter. So when you're linear and the ball's dropping, there's not a lot of value in that. So I'm just sort of scratching my head at the moment, Petch. And I think you're right. Maybe it's a dip from Novak that he has to look for.
But Wally, why would you be different to anyone else in scratching your head when you're trying to work out how to play against Novak?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in good company.
Almost 50% of Novak's serves are not coming back into play compared to just 20% for de Minaur. It's a lot harder work on the service games, a lot more complicated. Also, you have to factor in the fact that Novak's won his last 37 matches that he's contested in Australia.
The numbers they compile, these big players, the numbers Novak's compiled, when you look back in hindsight, it's amazing. You couldn't possibly predict it going back all those years. Someone's going to win 37 matches in the trot, including the Australian Open in those matches.
Well, 30-match win streak at the majors for Novak, of course, from the first round of Wimbledon in 2015 till the third round of Wimbledon in 2016. 30 consecutive matches. Picked up 27, of course, in his most recent run in 2021, when he obviously won the first 3 and then ended up losing in the final to Medvedev of the US Open.
Well, that's the first time he's been predictable. He served volley backhand at 40 love in a previous game. He did it just there, and Demon, you can see, serve didn't get up. Novak barely the time to get to the service line to split his step.
He's had 4 win streaks of 26, 27, 27 and 30, which is an open era record at Grand Slams.
Now.
40, 30.
Just skipping off the line, coming through. Just that little bit faster. Draws the error.
Got to work a little bit harder to get that opening game on the board. And he'll know there's no room for complacency out here or a dip in form. Minaur is trying to do his best, but he is getting overwhelmed by excellence so far from Djokovic. And just to highlight what he was saying about this serve from Novak, these are the kind of numbers. We used to always talk about it in the same vein as these were Federer-esque numbers. I think we need to change the narrative. I mean, these are Djokovic's numbers, and I kind of feel like he owns this stat now.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Just looking at the placement. When you serve that close to the line, the ball loses pace when it hits the court. So if you jam it in short, loses a lot of pace by the time it gets to you. But it's in the air a long time. It's close to the line. Really tough to deal with. And we're talking about some serious pace too. A couple of serves there, 200 plus from Djokovic.
When you look at those kind of accuracy numbers, both of them serve with a platform stance as well. They don't move their back foot. An argument to teach that way of serving as well.
Yeah, as opposed to what we're seeing from Alex, the big step up to the right.
Interesting how often he's gone inside out with his backhand return on the deuce side so far. I mean, that's usually a pretty much a sort of a play that he leaves up his sleeve, but he's definitely decided occasionally to go into that forehand early here with that return.
And Demon's been pretty consistent. He's almost like he's trying to slide it into that backhand hip, but I don't know if that's a conscious thing from Demon or he's just trying to bang that second serve in there, but there's been a lot of body second serves. I mean, Novak is crowding the line a little on second. Maybe just trying to jam him.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely trying to serve quicker. He's here at 193 tonight. That's 5Ks up on his average for the tournament so far. Alex with his first serve. And he's up about 7Ks, 5 miles an hour on his second serve. An argument to say that maybe that isn't the right way to go, because it just allows Novak to use that extra little bit of pace to redirect back to him quickly.
Fold.
And I guess that point you make, Petch, for Alex, he's striving for power and he's getting up around that high 190s, but that doesn't necessarily trouble Novak. You probably start to get, got to get into the Kyrgios type range where you're serving 210 plus to make a difference.
Well, in the fans' mind, that was a good serve.
It was a good serve.
In Novak's world, that's an opportunity to turn the point around.
30 all.
Once again, how's the balance of the man? Like, he's just a rock.
It's his tennis world, and we're just lucky to watch it. Crazy good. Look at the depth of return.
And I remember years ago hearing a quote from him after he'd won one of his majors. I don't know which one it was, but he said, "I feel like I'm born for this." And yeah, he is. When someone says that, you sort of take a step back and you think, "Oh, really?" But I think it's fair. His shot selection and his choices are second to none.
Minaur digs in with a big first serve. Needs traction in this second set. He could lose touch with Djokovic here quickly.
And it won't take much, will it? It's taken a come on from Demon and a fist pump. And they're coming along for the ride. The errors are not by much, are they?
Djokovic.
Does he just have to play just that little bit sleepier, Demon? Just not push the envelope.
Well, I think the off backhand return has actually locked Demon up in the middle of the court. I think normally he would have tried to get round there and maybe try and get a forehand into play, but he's a bit worried about the off backhand return. I mean, Novak is the master of pre-match strategy as well. May not have played before these two, but he will know what to expect. Well, this is a diamond of a performance from Djokovic right now.
And in the middle of the rally, Novak gives the little inside-out backhand slice, forces Demon to hit up, and then he goes to work with his forehand.
Guys, we've all been watching a lot of tennis over the last 8 days. This is the best.
Yeah.
This is the best level by a fair way. I don't want to, you know, hyperbolate here, but it like significantly. I don't know, 20, 30, maybe 40% better. It's incredibly accurate, the way he hits the ball, and it's hard to believe who can beat him here. Well, looking at this.
Fitzy, it's good you've qualified that, because you are prone to hyperbole.
Fold.
I used to practice for hours and hours and hours, Wally. And you always used to say, that's just 2 hours. What do you do when you're a competitor and you have your style of game, and that style of game suits the opposition? It is a very difficult thing because, you know, sometimes these matchups, I mean, and for most players, it suits Novak, no question, but this style is suiting him beautifully here.
It's the problem with the sport, isn't it? It's not like a team sport where you can sub somebody else in for a while with a different style of game, or even in a physical contact sport where you can dig your elbow into their ribs and try to unsettle them.
Already, thank you.
Petch, you're getting a clearer picture of Wally's character right now.
I enjoy both of you bouncing off each other the way you do. Certainly enjoying it a lot more than Alex is, trying to take on Novak and find a solution to what looks to be an impossible situation. Adolfo looking at his watch there, maybe he also had the same idea as we did at the start. If you can get this to an hour, maybe there'll be a dip. I mean, we're 10 minutes shy of that, and Novak has already pierced the defences of de Minaur in this second set. I wonder whether he was looking at it to think, when's the sun going to go down, because maybe he wants it to be a little cooler.
I was just thinking that I actually called the Nadal-McKenzie match prior to Rafa getting injured. He wasn't enjoying. It was a cool day. The roof was closed. There was no life in the court. Everything was below knee height. And Rafa, with his extreme grips, he wasn't enjoying it. So I was kind of thinking the same myself. Setting sun, cooler air, deader conditions. Maybe I'm clutching at straws.
It's 20 minutes till the sun goes down. In 20 minutes time, you get the sense de Minaur will be 2 sets down.
14-15.
And that's the problem, as you said, he's a linear hitter. When he lets the ball drop low, he doesn't have the work rate, the spin rate to be able to get the ball fizzed up and down quickly enough. Picture perfect.
Well, in the end, he almost worked a little too hard to make that a forehand. I think he would have been all right on the backhand side. Demon would have had to commit to something, but he puts himself in this position, and the net cord does him no favours.
Fold.
Breathtakingly good.
Djokovic.
Is shining a light on his greatness here is Novak Djokovic. A set and 3 love.
Djokovic is 3 games to love.
Pet, you reeled off some of the stats when Novak plays in a slam and he plays the home player. It's almost like he gets a bit of a siege mentality, and he's like, oh, I'm going to take the crowd out of this. He has just put a lid on this match very quickly. It's almost as though he understands that dynamic really well.
And it's one thing to want to do that, and it's another thing to have the ability to actually come out here and hit the ball as clean as he has, and the strategy that he's employed. I mean, this is as good as I've seen him hit a tennis ball ever. I mean, okay, another player will impact him and will maybe not allow him to play as well as this. He's getting a good ball, but in terms of shot making, ground strokes, it's extraordinary.
At time.
Often they say that once you attain things in life, that that prize just loses its luster to some degree, but not for the big players that have been out there on the tour on the men's side for a while, particularly Novak, of course. 9 major titles since he's turned 30, and that the most by a male player in the Open era. Of course, the most recent coming at Wimbledon. Be happy. I wonder if he can be happy. Can you be happy at set 3 love down?
No, but you can retain some level of balance. He mustn't be too hard on himself, Demon. He hasn't done a lot wrong. He's just being outplayed. He's just got to hang around. I know I might be getting a little bit fanciful here, Petch, but got to hold on to serve whatever it takes. The odd serve volley.
Ready for play, thank you.
Anything and everything from Alex de Minaur, just to stay in touch.
Can he tag you in here, Fitzy?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Love 15.
Holy smoke. I mean, I don't know. Alex can't beat him from the back. It's becoming obvious here. So I don't know about a serve volley, but I guess a bit more risk on his forehand and come in after it. Use his net game, because if he stays back, he's just cannon fodder here. It's incredible how good this guy's playing. Alex doing nothing wrong.
Fault.
Now he's stepping it up even more now. I mean, he's starting to just open his shoulders a little bit now.
One can lose. There's Leighton Hewitt. He's looking up. He must be wondering what his man can do. Of course, Leighton has that great relationship with Alex through the Davis Cup team, and Alex has always got his hand up to represent Australia, losing in the finals of the Davis Cup in 2022. But I would definitely, look, he's down 15-30, he's under pressure. Maybe he'd like to do it from a position of strength on the scoreboard, 30-15 or 30-love, but I'd definitely fire one in at the body every now and then and just serve volley, just to change up the look.
Pets, for your information, that's what Wally did all the time.
15-14.
He served at the body and went in. Good tactic.
Well, that's what you do when you have no talent.
I hear you.
Demon's got a ton of talent, but he needs to use everything available to him to stay in touch.
We saw that graphic just there, 136 Ks for Novak. I mean, that is putting him up into territory that we don't often see that often. We've seen him already this tournament, and there's no question that with this ball, he has decided that his best way of playing here is to absolutely gun the forehand. He's usually around 78 miles an hour off that forehand side on average. He's at 84 tonight.
Fault.
Just reached for that one of the few times he hasn't quite stayed with it. You could see they're just lifting ever so slightly. Shot through.
Yeah, there's so many problems that are coming at him. Lack of time, but also look at this as well. We talked about the sort of height in the ball, and I mean, for somebody like Alex that likes to take the ball on the rise and use a ball that's higher than the height of the net, that's what's coming at him right now, which is staying lower, of course, than the height at the middle of the net as well. So he's having to put a little bit of work on the ball, and it's coming at 84 miles an hour at him. It's just too much. It's irresistible. Five minutes of hard work.
So I know that opportunity doesn't present itself too often. It really doesn't, but when it does, he's got to use that for him because he does it well down the line and in.
That's about the shortest return that he's gotten. He's getting a little value from that wide serve now.
Fault.
I mean, that was a 172nd serve that came in from Alex. He was trying to do something. It was deep in the box. It was hit back at him with disdain.
It's dismissive, isn't it? It's just... And there's Leighton just urging Alex on. And Leighton knew a thing or two on this court about turning matches around. Federer served for the match once against him in Davis Cup to win in straight. Leighton ended up winning in 5. Got all the answers. Demon comes in on a slice, so you've got to close the net down.
Advantage, Djokovic.
So what does Novak do? You close the net down, I'll go over the top.
At least he's giving him something different to hit, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Why not? A wry smile from Demon.
This is just superb, isn't it? What a joy to be able to watch somebody at the absolute top of their powers.
It's like he's just trying to make a statement, isn't it? Wow.
Just another masterclass from Novak about how to return. And not only that, compete as well. Minaur tried to throw plenty of variety at him in that game. He has got all the answers. Minaur, no solutions.
And we're sort of talking about, you know, we're dissecting tactics, what can Demon do? But at the end of the day, he's winning 50% of his first serves and 39% of his second serves. In men's tennis, hey, sometimes you just got to create some sort of scoreboard pressure, get some cheap points on your serve. You might not be winning the general rallies. But Djokovic has just completely nullified Demon's serve.
I'd like to know what those numbers are now, because he's going harder at his forehand. I think someone had a bit of a crack at him. someone had a crack at him in the stands, and I don't think he appreciated it, and he just let out a bit of vigour there on those forehands.
Problem is that Alex isn't getting enough on the return. He's not getting enough depth. He's not getting enough pace. And I know that he doesn't want to go back because it's not his style, but I kind of feel as though he's going to need to go away from this match if he comes off second best, and it certainly looks as though that's going to be the case right now, and figure out a way to like it, to try and find a way to like it, because he's in such a rush for his next shot after the return that he can't actually get on balance.
Well, when you have an aggressive service stance, and if you don't get a good piece of it, well, you actually then have to go backwards and try to defend. And when you're moving backwards, it's difficult to change direction.
Treating Minaur like a piñata out here at the moment. 5-love.
Djokovic leads 5 games to none.
Petch, do we know the how many kilograms does Novak weigh? 80
yeah,
Ks?
80 Ks.
To me, it just looks like a good big man playing a good little man. It's almost like in boxing you are separated by weight divisions, but we've just got... This looks like a bigger, stronger man. And Demon's fighting, striving for power, using his foot speed to try and stay in the points, but he's just getting out-muscled off both wings.
His official stats are 77 Ks, 170 pounds.
It's got to be bigger than that.
There's nothing excess on him, that's for sure.
No, body fat would be very low. But Demon, he just can't win the arm wrestle.
Sort of performance that gets the prevailing thinking around these parts that this will be a coronation rather than a competition over the next week. Other players will feel as though they've got more weapons and more assets that they can trouble Novak with, but at the moment the 9-time champion is looking every inch the 9-time champion out here. It's incredible to think that this actually, in terms of match wins, is not his most successful slam as well. 86 match wins at Wimbledon. As that sun finally sets, and will it have any bearing on this match at all in terms of what Alex de Minaur can do with the cooling conditions here in Melbourne? One would think not. Seven Wimbledon titles, of course, for Novak. Four Wimbledons, 3 Aussies, 1 French and 1 US since turning 30. The desire has remained strong and consistent. And he can probably thank his rivals for that as well as they can thank him. One of the problems with Demon's serve out wide on the due side when we get granular here is it's very deep, isn't it? He looks like he has a bit of a forehand grip on it. He doesn't get an acute angle.
No, and he sometimes hits it a little hard. And the slower you hit it, if you can get it around 160, 165, you can get the ball to cut away. Each revolution is spinning away from the opposition. If you get it going through the court too much, it's in the strike zone. You don't want to serve that wide serve too big, but it is a fairly eastern grip Demon has. It's not a strong continental on serve. Novak has a strong continental. Knuckle right on top of the racket. Very closed racket face.
Pet, you talked about how many Grand Slams Novak's won since he's 30. What do you two think?
Djokovic.
How many can he win?
5 games to 1.
I mean, I think 5 or 6 from here.
Yeah, I think.
You, Wally?
Yeah, well, I would have said off the top of my head 3 or 4.
Tell you, maybe it makes a difference sitting on the court, but I'm going the higher number.
Yeah, tonight is... Tonight's just a statement. There is team Minaur, Peter Luchak just next to Leighton Hewitt. He's going to spend a bit of time on the road with Alex Fons, Spanish coach. That's really his childhood coach, and a real mentor to him in the back row is Tony Roach on the right, and Jamin Crabb, who's actually the Davis Cup coach for Australia. So there's quite a brains trust in that player box.
Fold.
You know, to me, he's gone for more towards the end of this set. He's trying to hit the ball harder, going for winners earlier. And he's got it's almost like he's put his jaw out and said, I am going to make a statement here. I don't know whether someone made him angry a couple of games ago, but since then he has had well, we talk about the demon. Novak's got a bit of a demonic look. He looks like he wants to really hurt the opposition here.
I think too, Fitzy, and I know it's something you certainly weren't used to. Just that scoreboard just gives him all sorts of license to go for it. He's obviously hitting the ball confidently, and then at 6-2, 5-1, just roll the dice, just let it roll.
Just no safe zone out here at all.
I can never recall seeing Demon being pushed around like this. He's so good at, he's so quick, he's so good at holding his ground and taking the ball on the rise, using his speed offensively. He's really just reacting to everything Novak is throwing at him.
Second set, Djokovic.
Just the 3 games
6
dropped.
game to 1.
Djokovic in demolition mode.
Djokovic is 2 sets to love.
I know for many that they'll want to come here, and you always want to have competitive matches, and we've had countless of them at this year's. One more game for the new balls. Novak just checking that out. He wants everything absolutely private. I know everybody wants a competitive match as we take a little wander through some of those stats, but the reality is I can get a lot out of a performance like this from an individual player. The virtuoso performance, I've always got a lot out of it on the men's side from Rafa and from Roger and Andy when they come out here and they put on a clinic like this. You know, not having played the game at any level compared to them, but just knowing how this game is played, to be able to play this well, this consistently against a great player like Ashleigh Barty is awesome to me. Well, we knew about Novak's confidence coming in here in terms of his win-loss record here in Australia at the moment. It was been a good time for Minaur as well against top 5 players. He had lost his first 18 matches against players ranked in the world's top 5, but he got a victory over Daniil Medvedev in the second round of the Paris Masters 1000 last year to break that particular record that he wouldn't have been too happy with. Then, of course, got another win over Nadal, a top 5 player at the United Cup. So he would have been feeling as though he's starting to get a little handle on how to play these top 5 players.
And there's Novak just stretching that hammy again, but I don't think he has to worry. Just keep it relaxed. It's travelling pretty well. So, Fitzy, you, of course, were Davis Cup captain for Australia for a number of years. You've sat with players through these matches. What would you say to Demon right now as we sit at end change after the second set? Do you even talk tennis?
Yeah, it's a tough question because he is getting hammered here. And mate, he's a world-class player, Ashleigh Barty, and we all thought that he might stay with Novak a fair bit longer than this. But I think you've just got to say, keep your chin up. You know, keep your chin up and maybe just take more risk. I mean, if you lose another set 6-1, it doesn't matter at this stage if you don't try something different.
So lose on your terms.
Well, if you can, yeah. More, at least a little bit more on your terms. Tough gig.
Fold.
So the way, if we assume Novak's going to keep the level, the only thing I can say in response to that, Fitzy, is that he probably has to serve volley a little bit more and take chances more moving forward. And when he gets past, just say too good.
And possibly hit the odd serve at the body. Not that, I mean, he's the best returner, you know, in the world, but maybe a couple at the body. See if he can get a short ball and just hammer it. Go for the winner. Because once he gets into that situation right there, he's not winning the points.
15 all.
And Novak, so he's hitting with such depth off that forehand that, and Demon likes to hold his ground near the baseline. It's almost like he's playing half volleys at pace. Tough to control.
All I know is if all the points are the same, if they're played the same way, he's not going to win them. So, and, you know, Novak's got him covered. So he's got to play points differently, whatever that entails. And I think even that first backhand there, he could have taken a risk and come in. But easier said than done.
Exquisite length again. Minaur is wanting to try and stay on the front foot. Every time he gets pushed back, he feels uncomfortable. The angles open up. Novak's using the 3/4 length shot. And already, Djokovic has carved out 2 break points in the opening game of the 3rd set.
Fold.
Djokovic.
Well, he tried something
please.
different. He just didn't execute it particularly well. And Novak, despite the neck, goes up a break here in the third.
First game.
But that's it, isn't it? It did balloon a little bit off his racket, but hey, that's what he's got to do. He's got to play it a little differently. He could even take that forehand slice and come in behind it off a genuine forehand slice. You've just got to try anything to stay with him on the scoreboard in this third. But I don't think it would be, you know, Alex, there's a number of players tonight that we could mention would be in a similar situation in the mood that Novak is in.
It would be in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking about the top 100.
Yeah.
90% of the tour will be in trouble tonight.
Yep.
Beauty needs no resume. We've been talking about his resume, but it doesn't need resume when you just see it like this.
When you say trouble, do you think they'd lose? Because right now he's the best player, easy here for me. Did you mean 99 or 90, pitch?
I mean, there's a couple of players here, as we can see the crowd get absolutely excited. Right to the rafters for that point for Minaur. I mean, there's a couple of players here. I mean, you can't ever rule out somebody that can consistently serve at 200 Ks deep in the box, like Tsitsipas. I mean, even Ben Shelton. You know, anyone that can serve as big as that, I mean, they have a shot. Alex doesn't move his serve around as well as those players. There's a little opportunity here. Well, we said before the tournament, Fitzy, I was commentating with you, and I said, would you take the field or would you take Novak? And I think most people would have taken Novak.
I think so. And it's confirmed now. But you're right, you can never write off the big servers. And in the men's game, the majority of top-end players have that big serve. Alex doesn't. So it's harder for him against this style, isn't it?
A little bit of scrambling from the Demon has got him a love 30 situation.
Yeah.
So he goes for the defensive push again, just makes it a little long.
Well, just what Fitzy was saying, just to tell Fitzy, you were absolutely right. When you look at that call that came out from the crowd there, Novak's forehand went up 12 Ks and it went up 5 Ks on the backhand side once he heard that fan call out something. Absolutely ripping the ball.
Don't rattle his cage.
Not sure he should hold it against Alex, though, you know? I mean...
Well, you've got to have an outlet, Fitzy.
Incidentally, for those that work in other money who follow tennis throughout the course of the career, 88 miles an hour on average. That means that Novak has been hitting his forehand since that little incident.
He's been beaten for depth. He's been beaten for weight of shot and placement. Like it's a trifecta.
And I watched the matches of his recently together, and I said, I think the word I want to use for him is a pretty mundane word, Novak. It wasn't a superlative, so to speak, but it was accuracy. He is by far the most accurate player, and that's what you just talked about. That most accurate I've ever seen. And everywhere he puts the ball, it's either close to the sideline, close to the baseline. Incredible depth. And it's so hard to attack against it.
Just saw him really dig that left leg in on the open stance backhand on that previous point. One of the few occasions that he's been in that position tonight. No ill effects.
I mean, you can't hit a better forehand than Alex did in the middle of that rally, and he was back to neutral the moment the ball came back.
Advantage.
Yeah, you would think you'd get a short reply. And as Fitzy's been saying, that might be the ball to come in on, but it came back with interest. Always a big Serbian community out to support Novak when he plays in Australia. Must be a god back home.
Well, there was a big game in terms of just continuing the momentum, and just the mental domination along with the obvious racket domination that we've seen so far.
Djokovic leads
Minaur on the edge of despair. Alex, it has to be said, he had one of a pretty rare feat when he won his title in Atlanta. Third player since '91 to have won an ATP title without facing a break point. Tommy Haas had managed it in Memphis in '07. John Isner on the grass of Newport in 2017. His serve, when it's working, can be a real asset. But it's come up against the ultimate test in the greatest returner of a tennis ball of all time. And unfortunately for him, it's been found wanting. To see it. You did highlight it at the start, Wally, that the slice may be important.
13-15.
Kieran Perkins there in the front row, Australian distance swimmer.
He specialised in 1,500 metres, didn't he? I think that's probably how far Minaur sprinted so far in this match.
Yep. So Fitz and I actually had the pleasure of watching him win a gold medal at the Barcelona Olympics. He's a great champion for Australia, and Novak, on one of the few occasions, he hasn't got it quite right there with the lob, but Demon's still full of running. He's still full of running. He's not going to go lightly.
Fault.
Well, Fitzy there, he tried to take that on and he missed it, but let's hope that doesn't deter him from trying it again.
Yeah, I think so, Wally. I mean, he's not going to win staying back, hitting it in the corner and waiting for the next one. So I think it's worth a bit more risk. At this stage, there's nothing to lose.
I mean, he was still having to take that on the baseline, right? I mean, he hasn't really had anything that's been on the service line where he can get even a meter inside the baseline to take. I mean,
well, just gets his front leg down the track to the pitch of the ball, head over the ball, rock solid. This is a great looking shot. Copybook, look at that, and just stays over it. Strong as a rock through the ball, Novak Djokovic.
(1,582 meters to be precise).
So he just kept going that little bit further.
Net for service.
And when you compare the distance that they've both travelled and then the intensity at which Demon has travelled that distance, we're starting to see the gap between the two, which probably relates to the scoreboard.
Glass half full kind of guy, and I like that from the crowd. You can do this, mate. But I'm also a realist.
Yeah. You think he's being a little overly optimistic?
Advantage, Djokovic.
I'm getting that sense.
There it again. Watch the head. Watch the head. It stays over the ball. He still hasn't lifted.
Must be a good feeling to play tennis like this. What do you think?
It's good to watch.
Djokovic in the third set, once again showing Minaur a clean set of heels here. 3-love.
Djokovic is 3 games to love.
Well, the crowd are primed, aren't they? They would be in it, up to their ears, if Alex could somehow just find a way to even just stay level, even if we just maintained being on serve in this third set. But there's nothing he can do. He just doesn't have something in his armoury at this point to trouble Novak.
There was a lot of happy faces on the side of his bag there, all the Masters 1000 wins he's had. Of course, he's the only player to win all 9, and just in case you thought that was fortuitous, he did it again for good measure, as of course he has done with all the majors as well. Won them all twice, one of just 4 men to have managed that particular feat. One of the greatest of all time, showing exactly why he has that label.
Time.
Novak trying to wet his hair, but it's waterproof. It's so thick, it's like an otter's pelt. It's actually waterproof.
You know, that's just one more little thing I'm jealous of, you know.
He's got it all, Fitzy.
Well, a sunset to match Djokovic's performance on the Rod Laver Arena in this sporting capital of the world. One of the greatest sports people of all time, putting on a show.
Fold.
There's a lot. I mean, let's just talk a little bit about his philosophy here. We've been talking about how hard he's been hitting the ball. We've talked about the balls being heavier. The flatter players are having more success. You only need to look at the women's draw to see that as well. He has, in the past, come here with faster balls and gone down the line a lot more with his forehand. He's still going down a lot, but the fact that he's hitting the ball as hard makes total logical sense if he can keep the ball within the ground, in the confines of the court, because nobody can attack him. He's adapted to the conditions this year in a different way than he's needed to do in the past. And obviously the other consequence of that decision for Novak is that he isn't having to test out that hamstring as much on defense.
No, because we've barely seen him go into that big slide, and you say he's protecting his thigh, but he actually doesn't have to. And you're right, maybe the balls do get a little heavier over time. There he is again, just a bit annoyed at the crowd.
Before service motion, please. Thank you.
Slightly heavier balls. He's got more time to unload.
For service.
Also shows how contained and disciplined these great players are as well, and how much more room they have to go with their shots that they actually decide not to use because the risk reward for them becomes too great.
Okay, well, that's the first dip we've seen, and there are a couple of wags in the crowd have made comments just as he's about to serve.
15-30.
That's gotten under his skin. So there we go, 2 double faults. Mum and Dad there just urging him on. Few extra bounces just to settle himself. We've seen that in the past.
30-all.
Yeah, used to have that whole sort of superstition about having an even bounce on the due side or on the ad.
Goran just urging him on from the side of the court there, from the coach's box. Strangely enough, the slow ball. It's not actually what Demon likes.
40-30.
And unfortunately, he hasn't liked the rally ball of Novak throughout the course of this evening. It's just been a little too good. It's the Kinesio tape, is it, under the strapping? Just, well, sweat. Tape gets wet. Bound to happen.
Fault.
Petch, we've seen players, and plenty of players play deep in the court, and, you know, it's a consequence of just how ferociously the best players hit the ball, and Demon has not retreated. He just hasn't, as quick as he is, he can't hold his ground. But then if he retreats, he's a linear hitter. That's a problem as well.
Djokovic leads 4 games to none. Love 15.
Now he's chip charging like Fitzy back in the day, making shoelace volleys. There's nothing he can't do.
I think you're getting a bit silly, and I'm still getting over the otter's pelt. That's, that's going to stay with me for a long time.
Fault.
Just another flash of brilliance from Novak, and the light diminishing here at Melbourne at the same rate as de Minaur's chances, and there is nothing you can do. He is unstoppable, unquenchable desire to be the best of all time. Look at that. Slow motion, it's even better. If that had gone over, they could have shaken hands.
15-30.
So here's a guy that just wanders into the net from time to time, but showing us he can do it beautifully. No pressure on the scoreboard for him, so he just shows us how effective that backhand is on the rise. Comes in, nice little bit of defense from Demon.
And he's absolutely coasting, isn't he?
He's human. It's about the first time he's pulled trigger and not gotten it right.
I'm not sure he is human, actually, Wally.
I mean, Novak's challenge now is just to stay on it.
Out.
40-30.
Novak, the rest of the Big Four normalised sporting immortality throughout their great rivalries. He is continuing that trend tonight. His performance has been a toast to his greatness on an individual level tonight.
Advantage, Minaur.
Fault.
It's a fourth game of the night for Alex de Minaur, and it's greeted with applause from this Aussie crowd as though he's won the match. They understand what he's up against. An avalanche of greatness. And the dent to the pride is significant in moments like this for somebody as good as de Minaur. He's been a top 20 player. The last 12 months have been kind of what he's hoping that the rest of his career is going to look like, and better, of course. Spent a lot of time at the end of 2021 after the Davis Cup there. We're working in the gym, putting some extra muscle on, as what he said, looking for some solutions to some of the problems that he had, and it took him 12 months to see the real results of that with the win over Medvedev in Paris to get his first top 5 win. And he would have come out here, as everyone does, with a heavy dose of optimism that perhaps things could actually go his way. But he has been firmly put in second place. Dying embers of another day here in Melbourne, and a day that is finishing off with Novak Djokovic eclipsing Alex de Minaur down on the court surface of Rod Laver Arena. If there were any doubts, any concerns for any Djokovic fans about their man's fitness, they have been put firmly to bed. As he steps up to put the dagger through de Minaur's dreams here.
I was just about to say I'm probably clutching at straws, but yeah, there was a couple of loose areas in the previous game, and how hard is it to concentrate?
15 love.
As well as Novak has concentrated for the duration of a match.
Please show good spirit of the sport by not disturbing the play on his service motion.
Yeah, that's
thanks a
fair
lot.
enough too.
Absolutely.
So just when he does make a couple of unforced errors in the previous game, he dials it straight back in on his serve. He does that so well. The drop shot off the backhand, and he cuts from outside in. So with each revolution, it's just drifting away ever so slightly. Got to be a pretty good drop shot to beat the Demon.
Yeah, and he's not struggled with a hamstring over 9 shots as well. He's beating de Minaur, so it's not as though anyone has got that kind of area to aim at, trying to extend the rallies. He's been excellent in every single facet of the game.
Fault.
That's it. I mean, we've got a perfect view here, Patch, and you can just see everything unfold. You can see the possibility of where he should go, and he just does it every time. You see the ability here to wrong foot Alex, who's trying to cover the backhand, and he just hits it inch perfectly.
Yeah, you know, well, it's an art form to know where to go, but it's way better than that if you can actually do it as well.
Yeah, execution is perfect.
Fault.
I just feel like these top players, they operate differently. You almost get the sense with somebody like Novak that the eye looks and the mind sees and it works simultaneously. You look at some of the lower ranked players, and even with Alex, I hate to say it though, you know, you get the sense that they see the ball and then their mind thinks about what to do, whereas with Novak, simultaneously it's all happening.
Yeah, the good players, they always seem to have more time, don't they? And as a consequence, they hit the ball that well, that buys them a little more time on the next shot, and so it goes. But I think the big thing for me, when I look at Novak from a technical point of view, you could put a plumb line, an imaginary plumb line down through his body, and he just spins around that axis. The head doesn't, there's no lift or there's no movement away from that really strong core. So he has a great knack of just finding the middle. The eye line is so set.
Fault.
And this feels like a performance that's a down payment for harder battles to come.
Djokovic leads 5
but it is one that he will savour.
Well, you talk about battles to come, Petch, and the winner of this match plays Rublev, who of course had an epic 5-setter, winning in the tiebreak in the 5th against Rune. So I know he's superbly fit, Rublev, and he'll bounce back, but as you get to this stage of the second week of a slam, yeah, you don't want to use too much gas in the tank.
2-1 there, head-to-head.
Fault.
Novak winning both matches on a hard court at the Nitto ATP Finals, one in 2021 against Rublev. 3-2 he won that one last year. Similar number of games lost, 4-1. Rublev did get him at home in Belgrade in the final. He wasn't playing great on the clay. It was a cold, long week in Belgrade as well for Novak. Lost 6-love in the final set to Rublev there. Martin Schopenhauer once said, talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. And I think that sums up this performance from Novak tonight.
So that's Demon, the counter-puncher at his best.
15-all.
He had a target.
Wally, maybe just bring him into the net every single point.
Yeah, it's a high-risk play, though, isn't it? Interesting, though, Fitzy, Novak, I mean, he's a good volleyer, no question, but it was kind of interesting there, Fitzy, because he approached forehand, covered middle. Like, it wasn't... I mean, you got to follow the approach. He just went straight to the middle of the court. Am I being hypercritical? Have I found a chink?
I think you found a mirage, an oasis.
An illusion.
Total.
Look, knowing our level and Novak's level, I think we're just here to make comments on the game, really, rather than finding critiques. What do you think, Petch?
I've watched enough of him to know that he's spent near on 13 years now working on his net game. I'll never forget him playing Rafa in Hamburg one year on the slow clay courts and came in for 3 sets. It was almost like a down payment for the rest of his career. He's never stopped working. He's never stopped improving. He's never stopped getting better. Hard work may beat talent, but if talent works hard, you have absolutely no chance.
Look, I don't know how long you can keep playing them, because I don't think you can get better than this. So I'm not sure if he can keep improving anymore. What a player.
Show good sportsmanship. No need to do these kind of comments, please. Thank you.
Well said.
Net for service.
And as the scoreline is blown out, we've seen power all night. We've seen a little bit of touch off both wings, executed perfectly.
He will not be denied his destination assured, a place in the quarterfinals here. Delayed maybe, but not denied.
Advantage, Minaur.
Fault.
How are you feeling about his court position up at the net now, Will?
You know, he's improved it. Covered that backhand line super well. But how quick is Demon? I mean, that was a pretty good drop volley. Demon was on it with 2 hands. But tough from that low down to do much. He's a quick learner, Petch.
Fiber optic speed. I tell you what, it wouldn't have taken a lot for this crowd to have ignited, would it? It didn't need to shuffle too many more coals on the bonfire. They came to get behind their man. They have been shut down.
Fault.
Couple of hours Minaur's managed to keep Djokovic out here for, but the Serb will serve for the win.
Leads 5 games to 2.
And honestly, the way that Novak's played, I think getting past 2 hours is, I mean, I know it's a Pyrrhic victory, but it's a victory all the same, because he's had 2 hours here to at least get some sort of incremental data for a potential next meeting and for the things that he's going to need to obviously do better.
Yeah, there's no question. In a career, and Alex is a young career, when you play a player like Novak, in this sort of form, you learn a lot. And there'll be things that Demon will pick up from this experience, irrespective of where the score goes from here, about what he needs to do with his game to take it to the next level. You know, he's a guy that wants to push inside the top 10 and contend in majors. So he's just got a little insight into what that might take.
At time.
Well, as much as he's played great, he's also thought beautifully as well. It's interesting, I said earlier on that he was hitting the inside-out backhand a little bit more. Just having a look at one of the Hawkeye graphics that we have in our booth here, it's been a nice split from Novak on the ad side first serves, 50-50 in terms of where he's gone. On the juice side in this third set, Novak has not even attempted to hit one first serve down the tee. And he's only hit 1 second serve down the tee on that side as well. Not only is an incredible tennis player, but his ability to understand strategy and then implement it is perhaps the best the game has ever seen.
A little Mexican wave going now. You get the feeling this game is going to be a little bit raucous. Umpire will have to work hard to keep the crowd subdued.
Ace already. Thank you. Thanks.
Fault.
Well, he did go down the tee and he went fast. I mean, that was faster than his average first serve at 194. Credit to Minaur there to ping one back onto the baseline.
Gee, almost some arrogance about that, wasn't it? Once again, he just loads up. 182, that's a huge second serve. Didn't appreciate the previous return. His net came really coming to the fore now. Something we would have liked to see a little bit from Demon, but Demon just hasn't been able to get that short ball to play the forehand line. Novak shows us how it's done.
And it we've had sort of Murray scramble in that match. It evoked memories of Connors and Crickstein from 91. We had a match before this that ended on a net cord. That kind of provoked the thoughts of Lendl and Becker from the Masters in 88. I was wondering whether we're queuing up the music for Connors Pernfors from 87 from Wimbledon. Connors down 6-1, 6-1, 4-1. I think not.
Set the net, Djokovic, recess to love. 6-2, 6-1, 6-2.
One of the most dominant performances of Novak's career anywhere, let alone here in Melbourne, where he has been the finest of all time. He is the master of Melbourne, and he may well go on to master it for a 10th time.
That was imperious, wasn't it? At no point did it look like Demon had an avenue or an inch of daylight to fight his way back into the match. Novak just had an answer in every facet of his game for Alex de Minaur tonight. But look, hey, Demon's gotten to the 4th round. It's been a good tournament for him, and as I said, you play one of the, well, he may well go down as the greatest player of all time statistically. When you play him in this sort of form, you learn something. And Demon, he wants to contest these slams. He's got a big career ahead of him, so he just has to walk away and assess and work on some things.
And it won't be easy. It won't be easy to get to that level that we saw tonight. I'm not sure that even in his absolute heyday, even in 12 months, if he works every single day, he's going to be able to get to the level that Novak did today. The talent gap was vast. It was obvious. It was startling. It's been a strong start to the year for Alex de Minaur, and it bodes well for the future, and he's going to have to take that one on the chin, and he's going to have to bounce back. There's some big tournaments just around the corner that will dictate just where he can get to, and it's his home Grand Slam. He's obviously massively disappointed. He would love to add his name to that illustrious set that he walks past, but unfortunately for him, he was up against a man that has designs on another Australian Open trophy here. That's how good he was tonight, and de Minaur comfortably second best. And Novak, it feels, just taking a little bit of extra time here to compose himself before he gets ready for this interview with Jim Courier. Just a reminder again that he takes on Andrei Rublev in the quarterfinals here. 13th quarterfinal of the Australian Open, 54th of all time for Novak, second on the all-time list. And it's time to hear what he has to say about that.
Novak, it's a beautiful night for tennis. You're going up against Alex, who's been playing really well. He beat Rafael Nadal a couple of weeks ago. That's how well he's been playing. A lot of Aussie fans in the building tonight, looking forward to a great night of tennis, possibly a long night of tennis. Didn't happen. I'm not going to ask you how you beat him so convincingly. I'm going to ask you why you beat him so convincingly.
Because I wanted to. I mean, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and thanks for coming out tonight. I cannot say I'm sorry that you haven't watched the longer match, to be honest. I mean, I really wanted to win in straight sets. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen on the court. You know, once you're on the court, obviously, you got to deal with a lot of things that are on and off the court. So, yeah, I thought it was first 4 or 5 games were quite close. One break of serve in the first set. You know, I started feeling, I guess, more loose, more free to kind of go through the ball and be more aggressive. I felt maybe he was a bit more nervous towards the end of the second and beginning of the first, and I felt like that is my opportunity, you know, to try to capitalize on those chances. And you know, tennis is a very quick, very dynamic sport. Things can change in a matter of moments, matter of points. So kept my focus all the way through and just, play the best match of this year so far.
Yeah, it was awesome. No doubt about it. It's obvious that you're dealing with an issue on your left leg, and managing that is something you've been doing throughout this tournament. What's the status of the injury? How does that impact not just a match, but also your days off? What is different for you in this tournament because of that?
Well, thank you, Jim, but tonight it wasn't obvious that I was dealing with an injury, to be honest. I mean, I didn't feel anything today, so today was great. I thank my medical team, my physio. I thank God, anybody that really helped me. Yeah, I keep on going. Obviously, I don't want to celebrate too early. I'm still in the tournament. I was feeling very good in the first match. Second match, not so great. So I know that things can change really quickly, and I don't take anything for granted. I'm really pleased with the way I've played, with the way I moved today, with the way I hit the ball. So let's keep it going.
Two years ago, you won this tournament, but you also suffered an injury in your abdominal. Does that experience of being able to manage coming through, not having perfect health, and hopefully you will from here on, does that give you confidence in that experience?
Well, look, you, Jim, have been through a few injuries in your career, so you know how that feels, and especially when you're playing a tournament. You don't know really what is the degree of the injury until you actually play a competitive match. I've been taking a lot of pills these days, and it's not ideal, but trying to mask the pain. Not those kind of pills, guys. Pills. Anti-inflammatory pills that I normally don't like taking, but yeah, I had to find a way, with my team and take it day by day. Today, as I said, I don't want to go too deep into it because really today was the best day so far of the tournament, and hopefully stays that way.
Okay, good. So let's lighten the mood. Let's lighten the mood. So I know about injuries. What I don't know about is being a father and a parent and still being out on tour. And I know it's been beautiful to see your family come with you at times. And I know that your son, Stefan, he likes to play a little tennis too. I want a little update. How is his tennis game? Is he still enjoying it?
He's playing, he's enjoying himself. The important thing is that he's just loving what he's doing, whether it's tennis, whatever sport, of course, as a father, I want him to be active, be healthy. He loves tennis. He wants to watch every single match. Whenever I'm at home, there's no tennis break for me because I play with him every day. And it is the most beautiful thing that I could ever experience in my life, being a father of wonderful two little angels. And who knows, maybe one day Stefan and I come back here playing doubles with you guys. I still have plenty of time ahead of me, so.
And how about his little sister, Tara? What does she like to do? What are her activities that she likes to get up to?
She's not into tennis at all. She's into ballet, gymnastics, She's a really cute girl, little girl. She's keeping me, I guess, what do you call that? Keeping me grounded, and I think humble as well. And she spins me around every single day. Whenever she looks at me, I'm disarmed, so to say. Her look is the most beautiful look I've ever experienced in my entire life. Yeah. I miss them. Yeah. I love them.
That's beautiful. Okay. I'll give you one more question. We'll refocus you because you're getting a little glazed over. I think we're both going to tear up here in a minute. Let's refocus on the tournament because there's more to do. Andrei Rublev won an amazing match today. That's your next opponent. You've beaten him twice. He's beaten you once, and that was in your home tournament in Serbia. What are you looking forward to? What's that challenge going to be in a couple days' time?
Well, he's a established top 5, top 10 player already for a few years. Incredible firepower, especially from the serve and forehand corner. just a very explosive player, a little bit like Minaur, you know. So hopefully the result will be the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just saw some of the best tennis you will ever see from Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, and I think anyone that sat here and looked at that match tonight will echo Jim's thoughts. I think that was, in terms of an individual performance, one of the best you'll ever see. And I remember asking Jimmy Connors, with over 1,200 wins in his course of his career, how many perfect matches he played, and he said 5. I wonder if at the end of Novak's career he will be putting that particular performance into that category. Was it, and is it, going forward, a beautiful matchup for him against Ashleigh Minaur? That was the first meeting that he's had with the Australian. It certainly looked like that in these conditions here in Melbourne.
Thank you so much. Good game.
As he takes a little bit of time to sign the souvenirs. Take that much less time than it took for him to actually sign his name in the quarterfinals here for a 13th time in Melbourne. He's won more titles here than he has at Wimbledon, but he's now won exactly the same matches at this particular event. And that's what it looks like in terms of a performance. Taking it on, hitting the forehand about as hard as we've ever seen him hit it consistently throughout the course of a match, and just the one more unforced error when he was being ultra aggressive. Unfortunately for Ashleigh Minaur, I don't believe he actually hit a ground stroke winner in that particular match as well. I think it was a tough evening at times for Alex out there. And he will be back to the drawing board. Rublev, 5-set winner, epic contest against Rune, but it certainly didn't have the quality of shot making that Novak showed tonight. And then we have Ben Shelton up against fellow American Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul rolling past Baptiste Rigout. It's been such a wonderful tournament. Sebi Korda, of course, also in a final set breaker yesterday against Hubie Hurkacz. Khachanov has been playing some superb tennis. Tsitsipas in a terrific tussle with Sinner yesterday. Lehechka has been the surprise of the show as well, and a great win for him against Auger-Aliassime. The quarterfinals, the last 8 players here in Melbourne on the men's side, locked and loaded and ready to go. But ultimately, after what we saw arrive and leave tonight, there is simply just one man to beat here in Melbourne, and that name is Novak Djokovic.